Green Eyes is another one of those films in this box set that I wouldn't really categorize under horror. It's just another murder mystery flick where there's not much suspicion or excitement. Think of it as a really boring murder by television, except it doesn't have any of the excellent performances. This film was directed by Richard Thorpe, who had a huge directorial background before and after this film. He's best known for almost directing The Wizard of Oz, before being booted off for, among other things, giving Judy Garland a blonde wig. Do you know that Judy Garland was born in Minnesota, literally an hour from where I live? They have this festival every year, and okay, now I'm off track talking about Minnesota again. Anyway, there's this party at this house where Stephen Kester is murdered. Everyone is held as a suspect, especially the victim's granddaughter, Jean, and her fiance, both of who were on the run moments after the murder happened. There's also this real eccentric writer named Bill Tracy, played by Charles Starrett, best known for later playing the Durango Kid. He works with John Ray, who plays the inspector, in finding out who truly murdered the victim. There's two reasons to watch this movie. One is for the Durango Kid himself, who has a really fun performance. He's goofy and sarcastic, an interesting role for the time.
Yes, I've been arrested 7 or 8 times. 4 times for creating a disturbance while under the influence of alcohol, 3 times for socking a cop on the nose, and once for murder.
The other reason is for the cinematography by M.A. Anderson. He did a handful of other films, none of which I've seen, but after watching this movie, he has some pretty amazing work. A lot of beautiful shots and blocking, something that was only developing in 1934 film. This was produced by Chesterfield Pictures, another really small company that would later get gobbled up by Republic Pictures. Most of their productions took place on the Universal and RKO lots, so what you're seeing is a lot of sets built by bigger studios. The story can get confusing. There's this whole conspiracy about how Kester wasn't going to give money to Jean anymore, and how he refused to give money to the mother after she married a doofus, apparently. Then there's this other random guy named Roger Hall, who apparently was going to kill Kester and then himself for causing the death of Jean's mother, who this guy was in love with. Then there's this whole thing about a mine and the stock in Mexico, and that apparently money would get diverted to Jean if Kester and Hall were both killed. But then there's this other random guy who killed Roger Hall before he had a chance to kill himself, because this guy worked with Kester and was laundering money for years. Don't you see how this is all really confusing? I mean, sometimes these plots with murders and money can get confusing for a first-time viewer. I've occasionally had to look up synopsises for a lot of movies to truly understand what's going on, but even with the synopsis of this movie, I'm lost. Maybe if I had more time for development, especially divulging into characters who would later become the culprits. The murderer gets almost no screen time in this hour-long flick, so don't get mad at me if I spoiled anything. There really isn't anything to spoil. Bill Tracy discovers the remains of a mask in this fire pit that the murderer used to disguise himself as Kester, but why does this even matter? He killed both Kester and Roger Hall. Why did he need to disguise himself as Kester anyway when they found the body immediately at the beginning of the movie? There was a party going on before the movie started, so was there a deleted scene that showed the culprit wearing the mask and going around the party impersonating Kester? I don't know. The point is, that's where the title Green Eyes comes from, because all that was left of the mask was a pair of green eyes. Yeah, except they're black and white eyes, so I don't understand. I don't even know if they ever mentioned that they are green eyes. This one's a doozy, and besides the fun performance of Charles Starrett and the direction of photography, I would skip this in a heartbeat. Not as bad as something like The Monster Walks, but it's still pretty bad.